Okay, welcome to Empires of the Millennium. This is video number 3, and I've started playing the first epic of the game, and I wanted to show everyone how the campaign works. In this case, the Fatimids took a primary action and a special action for their turn. What they did was muster a cube in Silyamasa, and add a cylinder, which should be upside down, in the Maghreb. The Franks took the limited option because they didn't have any use for the event, and the Franks did a muster in East Francia so they can start building the forces necessary to start subjugating and converting the pagans nearby. And then that left the Abbasids with the event or pass option. They taking the event because it's Shadows of the Swords, and it's something they want to do, and it allows them to a free marching campaign with an extra d6 to roll on campaign. So, how in the heck does the campaign work? All right. So, what the Abbasids have decided to do is march out of Fars, the whole group of 4 cubes. And marching just allows you to move your cubes into an adjacent space. And they're moving adjacent to Al Jazeera. Now, ordinarily, you could just march with a limited operation, and that would be the end of your turn. But the event cards allows you to both march and campaign in the one location. So they're marched in, but they're also going to fight. They're going to campaign in Al Jazeera. And we're going to show you how that works. So, in the campaign, you will have 2 sides. The campaigning side, which is the faction that took the campaigning action, in this case the Abbasids, and they have 6 cubes. And then the non-campaigning side. Now, the Abbasids would campaign against all other factions in Al Jazeera, right? So you don't get to pick who you're campaigning against. In the event that there was a neutral cube in Al Jazeera, they would be fighting against the Abbasids as well, and fighting alongside the Umayyads that are present. In this case, it's just Abbasids versus Umayyads, but you have to be cognizant of that when you pick your fights, because you don't want to get into a situation where you're outnumbered. The combat's chancy; it's not determinative, so there is the chance that even with a large number of troops, you can still lose a battle. This happened during the time period of forces much larger than their opponents getting completely wiped out. So that's a lot of examples of forces just getting totally wiped out during military campaigning. So military campaigning is risky during this time period, and it can be bloody. So now that they've marched in, the Abbasids are going to campaign. And to campaign, we're going to go through the campaign little player aid. First step is to determine the sides. All pieces in opposition to campaigner versus the campaigner. We did that. So all pieces in opposition are our 2 Umayyad cubes. The campaigner are 6 Abbasid cubes. Each side rolls a number of d6 equal to the leader's military rating. The Abbasids have Al-Mansur. Al-Mansur has a military rating of 3, so the Abbasids are going to get 3 dice to roll in the tray. The Umayyad, Abd al-Rahman I, wasn't much of a military man, and they only get 1 dice. Also, because of the condition on the event card, the Abbasids gain a d6 to this campaign. So now they're going to roll 4. All right, so we've got 4 Abbasid dice and 1 Umayyad dice. The number of dice has nothing to do with the number of cubes. It rather has to do completely with the leader's military rating, and some other special things that can add dice to a battle, to a campaign. Okay, if there are multiple factions in opposition, so in the instance where, say, the neutrals were in alongside the Umayyads, then the opposition faction uses the lowest military rating, meaning you can pick fights with multiple foes where they're not able to coordinate, and whoever is the worst military leader, that's how many dice they get. So in the case of neutrals, the military rating is always 1. So you can pick situations where your opponent will only get to roll 1 die. Okay? You roll the dice. The high roll wins. If tied on the high roll, the second highest roll wins. If tied on the second highest, the third, etc., etc., etc. If there no more dice, you read the roll as a 1. So in this case, if the first roll is tied between the Fatimids and the Abbasids, the black and the red, then when reading the second red die, you just read it as a 1. It's possible that they could be tied as well, depending on how the dice shake out. So we're going to do it. Let's roll the dice. High roll wins. Okay, we got a tie. So we have a tie. Abbasids roll a 6. And the Umayyads roll a 6. Now, the Umayyads didn't roll any other dice, so we treat as if they rolled a second die of a 1, while the Abbasids' second highest roll was a 5. Okay, so now we've got our winner. The Abbasids have won the campaign. And then we remove the differential in die roll as casualties from the loser. Right? So the differential in the winning die roll is 5 minus 1 or 4. The Umayyads are going to have to remove or suffer 4 losses, probably more accurate, in the campaign. The priority of suffering the losses is first you remove cubes. Then if there are no more cubes to remove, you reveal cylinders. Then if there's no more cylinders to reveal, you remove revealed cylinders. And then if there's no other pieces left, then you can remove a disc. So bases last like usual, and they're hard to get at. And you can protect them with soft power, even in certain locations. So in this case, the Umayyads only have 2 pieces. They suffered a differential of 4 losses, so both of the Umayyad pieces are gone from Al Jazeera. But it is possible that the Abbasids suffer losses as well. So the 5th step in the process is to remove 1 casualty from the winner. In this case, that's the Abbasids. If the high die roll is 6 in A, 5 or 6 in B, 4, 5, or 6 in C. A, B, and C is just referring to the communications level of the region, of the area where the campaign has been conducted. Al Jazeera has a communications rating of B, and so on a high roll of 5 or 6, which the Abbasids rolled a 6 is for their high roll, the campaigner is also going to take a casualty. So while they took out the 2 Umayyad cubes, they got to remove one of their own. It was lost in the fighting. That's the end of the campaign. Abbasids now control Al Jazeera because they are the majority, and they are on the march for the rest of this epic. So that's, in a nutshell, how the campaign works. So you can see that in action. And stay tuned for some more videos on the game. Thanks.